Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning.
Good morning.
Right. To get started, what I'd like to ask each of you to do is to go in the chat and add your name, the one that is in your WCU emails and everything. I know some have your maiden as opposed to your married names listed, but please put in what you are registered under as your name and your section number for class attendance. Your name and your section number. It would be either 80E if you're in the master's program, 81 or 82E if you're in the specialist. That would be the number listed in Canvas. Name is the most important. I can hunt you down for the section number if I don't have that in there. But that is the way I take attendance. And if I don't see it in the chat, when I pull the chat log, you will be counted as absent. There's no way for me to go back and find you other than watching the Zoom over. I like to give it at least until about 8:02. That's what time it is. All righty, just to give people time to sign in. I know I had technical difficulties this morning. I ran to get my iPad because my computer, for some reason, would not let me log in this morning. All right, let's see. For those of you just coming into the class, please go into the chat and add your name as it is listed in your William Carey emails in Canvas, as well as your section number. If you'll go ahead and add that to the chat, that is the way that I take attendance. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started just so we can maximize our time and not dilly-dally. This class meets twice a trimester, and so I try to make sure to have something that is of value for you the two times that we meet because you are getting up on a Saturday morning for this, bright and early on the one day we like to sleep in. I am not removed from that thought in mind. 7 o'clock rolled around. I was like, so I get it. I will be your cruise director on your journey. I am Dr. Nicole Cockrell. I am an acting principal at Mansdale Upper Elementary School in Madison County. I have been teaching EDL 601 roles of the principal since 2023. So I'm kind of well versed in what I will tell you is your textbook. So if you don't have it, you need to get it. This isn't a course that you can Google through it, Chat GPT through it, because I look for very specific things when you answer the domain questions. And most of the things that I look for is going to come from this book. And mine's tabbed up, highlighted up. And with every cohort, I learn something new. And I go back and tab that up because it's just interesting to know. I will say to you, if you are not in a leadership role, this book will be very interesting for you. When I started teaching this class, I was an assistant principal at the school I'm currently at, and I learned a whole bunch from it my first time teaching the course and going through the book with that very first cohort. So I will tell you to please get the book if you haven't gotten it. If you order it through William Carey's bookstore, they'll mail it to you. If you want it quicker, Amazon does have it. So, whichever way is best for you, you need to have the book. Every assignment is going to come from the book. It's not going to be a where you have to really go outside of the book to find your answers and all of that. It's very well written. I'm a big fan of Marzano. If you have never heard that name, you may be a new novice teacher. But Marzano is very big in the work with educators and with leaders. So his work is very pertinent to the work that we do every day. For any, I know I just let some other people in. If you're just coming on to the virtual class, please go in the chat and sign in with your name, your William Carey name, and your section number. I'm gonna say that quite a few times because what you learn after doing this for a hot minute is I'll get 15 emails that I was on the call, but they didn't sign in. And I can't give you credit because I can't prove it. So that's how I kind of like to keep things. Moving forward for today, the agenda for today is I will go through the Canvas module with you. I will talk with you through the 6 domains, and I've created a little PowerPoint just to kind of hit the high points of what your core instruction is going to be around. And then the third thing is we'll start unpacking your data project. We'll really get into the meats and potatoes of that data project, probably via email when you start working on it. The one thing I don't want to forget to say is when you're communicating with me, please send me an email. I know I will send you an inbox, but I really prefer an email. The only way for me to see an inbox is I have to be in Canvas. For some reason, it doesn't email me that I have a message in inbox. I am on my emails every day. Y'all know we walk around with these lovely things and my email comes to this, but inbox doesn't. And here's the other part of that. And y'all, I want you to hear me say it on the first call. If I don't email you back within 24 hours, email me again. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you email me again. Okay. I'm busy just like you guys are. I have this course that I'm teaching, as well as a mom, as well as a principal, and I'm getting 100 emails a day just in my work at school emails. So if you have a question or you need something answered, again, do not hesitate to say, just following up, Dr. Cockrell. You know, do that for me just because I may read it on my phone and I'm thinking, oh, I'll answer that when I get home, when I'm sitting with all my things. Because I do believe in separating one job from the other. I do William Carey in this office at my house. I do Mansdale Upper at my office at the school. And then I'll forget to email you when I get home. So please don't hesitate to follow up with me. I will tell you, I try hard to answer all emails quickly, but I'm human and I don't sometimes. Just depends on the nature of the world I'm living in. That's all of that. So let's dig in. I got to turn to the right page. Again, I'm a teacher. I have notes for every day of my life. So when we start this course, I think I want to jump into our Canvas first, just so that you guys can get into this module and get a better understanding of exactly where everything's located. For all of you guys who are like experts, this probably isn't for you because I know there are experts, people who've been in school a little bit longer, and you can go through Canvas without thinking about it. Those of you who are teachers who teach through Canvas, again, you can probably go through it without thinking. Let me see, got people coming in. Y'all hold tight for just a minute. For some reason, my computer did not drink coffee and it is not moving fast. Better state, it is not moving at all. All right, let's reboot that.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. Are you just signing in?
No, I was on at like 7:55, but it looks like it just took me out or something. And I just realized when I came out the bathroom.
Okay, if you would, I didn't know if you got this message or not, but sign in to the chat with your USM. USM is on my mind. I've got a child going to college. Your William Carey University's email. I'm not, your. William Carey name, how it's listed in William Carey, and your section number. If you would do that for me, that's perfect. So I can get, you can be taken in for attendance. Okay, I got up what I need y'all to see. Moving on. We are there. Oh, the other thing, guys, to get credit for this course, you do have to have your cameras turned on. That's the other part. Because you guys know through COVID, we all learned that we can turn it on, turn the camera off, and go cook breakfast, go clean, and do all the things. Yeah, I lived through COVID. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and we're going to pray that this works on the first go. Look at that. All right, I got people in the waiting room. Hold on one more time. Okay, everyone can see my screen. Couple of thumbs up. I can see Court in my, okay, thank you, Court. I can see you on my screen, so thank you. Alrighty, so this is the first page when you log into Canvas and you click on the shell. This is what you're looking at. Everything that you have coming due is listed on the side panel right here on your right side. You all do have an orientation at 10. Please don't forget to do that. You do have to sign on to your orientation. Alrighty, so then we go to the modules. That's where everything is housed, is in the modules. So all of this is just great information. The syllabus is listed there, all the different things that you may need to help you be successful. Some things about the actual Marzano's book domains 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6 are all listed right in that area. Let's look at the approved cover page. If you've never gone to William Carey before and this is your first time, you do need to download this cover page. It should be turned in with every assignment that you turn in. You should have this as your cover page. You know, you fix up the top, fix up all this to make it match what you need it to match for your assignments. And then you have some APA things here for those of you that need to just have a refresher on APA style. And then the WCU library, all of those things are listed there. Your mentor agreement form. Keep in mind, she will go over all of this with you in your 10:15 virtual class. I will have you off with me at 10 so that you can join that and have a little bit of a break between. It's a long Saturday for y'all. She'll go through all the things for your clinical practicum hours. Any questions about your practicum hours, you will need to email those to your advisor. I don't know about it. I don't have answers to any of those things. I know every year I get emails and I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of focus in on this one thing. So, where we are now, we are in week 1. And this is all the things that fall under week 1. A lot of it is helpful information. The things that you have to draw your eye to is these drop boxes. These are things that are due. These are things that you have to upload, video presentations, but you will have to turn these things in by Sunday. Sunday, 11:59 and 59 seconds. That is it. At 12 o'clock, it is late. When I look at it, if it says late on your attendance, I'm going to say late. I know this sounds really like, oh gosh, she's going to be real a stickler about things. These are William Carey University's policies. These are not Dr. Cockrell's policies. These are William Carey University's policies. They say 11:59 and 59 seconds, things need to be turned in. If they're not, then I have to mark them as late in attendance. Okay, I've said that. I like to say it a couple of times so people can hear it. Now, let's look at this little box here. AI, Grammarly, Microsoft 365, all of those things, when you use them, they are going to show up when I look at your Turnitin score. Okay, let me change how I worded that. Your Turnitin score that you'll see is telling me if you have used plagiarism. But after I click into turn it in, there's also a score that you don't see on your end, I'm guessing. I don't know that for certain. There's a score that tells me how much of a percent you have AI usage. So if you click, and I'm trying to be very specific, because with past cohorts, we've kind of drilled into this to try to figure out why the AI keeps turning on their papers. We have come to the conclusion that when you're using, just think about Microsoft Office 365 and it gives you a suggestion to change the verb and you click it. Well, that's AI. AI fixed that for you. So if you highlight that and type it in yourself, AI doesn't pick it up, if that makes sense. If you send your paper through Grammarly to correct and edit, and you download the corrections and you cut and paste that into a Word document, Turn It In picks up all of the AI script code in that paper. Does that make sense? So when you're using AI, you have to be very careful because the Turn It In will catch it. It will catch it. And you're going to get a lovely email from me that simply states that your grade is a 0 and I need you to resubmit it. And I will do that for you twice. The third time it is a 0 and you have a 0. So I'm trying hard to make sure I stress the point of please, please, please do not submit AI. Okay? Alrighty. And we will make you revise it, but then it becomes a thing of you're not actually changing the behavior. Now, I'm gonna wait before we talk about this whole part about the data analysis because we're gonna go through this data analysis part together here in just a second. Alrighty, are there any questions about the Canvas module? You do have to unmute yourself.
I have a
No,
question.
Mhm.
I don't have any questions.
No,
Sabrina?
ma'am, I don't have a question.
For our Dropbox, do we need to submit a cover page as well? I thought I
So,
read somewhere we didn't, but I wanted to make sure.
okay, so when you get to the Dropbox, let me thank you for asking that. For things like getting to know the class, the Dropbox discussion, no. The video presentation, no. But now I'm going to dip down here into week 2. When you start turning in these domain assignments, these are typed out written responses. So, yes, your first page will be the cover page, then your written response, and then your reference page. That will be the order for those. Guys, hold just one moment I do need to mute myself for just a moment. I am so sorry. This is not something that generally happens.
Hello to everyone. Can you hear me? I was having some technical difficulties earlier.
Is anybody else having issues? I am so sorry. That normally doesn't happen. I have people in my building today for an activity, and they can't get into school, so I have to figure out getting them in there one more time. Sorry, guys. Hey, my assistant principal's on her way over there. She's leaving Hot Works though, okay? Okay. No worries. I'm sorry. Bye. All right. I am so sorry, y'all. So many things go on in a day. And y'all want to be principals, so just know your Saturdays don't even belong to you either. All righty, where did I stop off? Dropbox. So when you get to these domain assignments, yes, cover sheet and a reference page at the very end. One other thing I wanted to draw your attention to, I did not put in an instructor weekly video this week because I knew we were meeting today and I would go through much of the things that I would have said in the video. But every week there is an instructor weekly video, and I will put a link in for that video. And all it does is about an 5 to 10 minute video explaining everything that's due for that week. That video for next week will be posted by tomorrow, and I try to have them up by the Sunday of the week. So that you'll just know what to look forward to or what little things to think about as you're doing the assignments. And I don't know if many of you have gone in to do your presentation video. If you have, let me say it this way, if you're using a school issued computer, you may want to ask someone in your tech department at your school if you're having issues with uploading these videos, if there are some security features on your computer. That is another thing that I have no control over. I cannot help you with IT. I wished I could. I call myself techie, but it's some things that are embedded in these devices that are issued from the school that prevent videos and different things, and y'all would know more about that. So for your video, when you go here to start that assignment, you're going to get a media box here. Please pay attention to the rubric. Y'all, there are rubrics for everything, for every assignment. And when I grade your assignment, I grade it based off the rubric. Print it, read it, and double check that you've done the things. And you will get a 100. So when you get to this place, you're going to go to record the video. And again, I'm on a school issue device, so I have to allow that to take place. It will pull up me here on the video, and then I will record myself as if I'm doing this class presentation. After I'm done recording myself, I will do the finish button. Now it's there. Now, if I went on here with y'all, it wouldn't ask me to save it or just ask me to submit it. Oh, well, no, that's right. Save it and then submit it. Once you hit submit, it's done. That is a done assignment for you. The hard part for a lot of people, it never gets to the submit. It just starts spinning right here and they just get the spinning wheel of death. So that's a security feature that has, I don't, I've talked to the IT people with William Carey, and they're saying that it's also it's a thing that's on the school issued device. If you have Canvas on your phone, I know when I was at William Carey, I did have Canvas on my phone. Not, all the things wanted my grade right then. It will sometimes allow you to do it with your phone. I had a couple of students say they had to do it on their phone and it did work. But just be mindful of that. I know this is a lot to read, but guys, it's grad school. I guess that's all I can say is it's grad school. You got to read through it. You got to get it done. And it's a lot. Grad school is a lot. I'll say that 110 times. I agree. Been there, done it 3 times. Um, so that's the part that I always like to go back because you'll have the Dropbox video presentation for your summary and then you'll have it again at the end for your domains project. So be very careful with what device you use and making sure the settings allow you to do that. Alrighty. I'm going to stop sharing this screen. Come back. Any questions about Canvas and any of that stuff?
No, no, I'm good.
Okay. Hearing none, I'm going to jump over to the PowerPoint on the different domains. Something is not pulling up. There it goes. Y'all in here. Okay, it said no. It will not let me go in here. That's the hard part with technology. We love it, but some days it's just grumpy. Alrighty, now we're cooking. It is finally waking up. Don't want to join. I want you to log me in, please, and thank you. Alrighty. It has now logged me in. Alrighty. I don't like boring things. Even when I have staff meetings, I try hard to make them a wee bit engaging. And so we're going to do a PowerPoint because, again, I am that person. If they say, okay, this is how it needs to be structured, I'm going to do it that way. The teachers in my building will tell you my favorite phrase is gainfully employed. You do the things that are asked of you that don't go against your integrity and your ethics, and then you can be gainfully employed. So when William Carey tasked me with this class and said, make sure that we're covering certain things, I try to do those things. So the first thing I want to do is, and this is a gloss over, y'all. This is not a deep dive. This is me just kind of introducing you all to the 6 domains of school leadership for results. And when I say again to y'all, this book is very interesting, but I will tell you, I had a cohort member last semester actually tell me this is so confusing. She was like, this is for people who are actually working in administration. It is not for people who are trying to get there. I said, it's for you to put your hat on of I want to be there. And this is how I phrased it of wanting to be there and what would you do in that role? Because we've all worked under the best. We've all had the worst. And we've had those people that we respect. So when you think about who you want to be as a school leader, you're always going to think about those things. Who do I want to be when I have that full role? And whether that's being an athletic director, because that's leadership, a curriculum director, a special education director. I mean, whatever that role is, because you may not be aspiring to be a principal one day, you may want a different role of leadership. But any role you take where you have people that are coming to you for advice or for leadership, you have to know where you want to fall in that. We're going to talk about the 6 domains in a way that just again is giving you an overview of what to expect from it. Oh my. Uh-oh. Okay, y'all. I'm telling you, I'm much better with technology than I am today. I am escape. There we go. Got it. I'm going to blame this on my computer and let it be a computer's fault today. Okay, here we go. I was in the wrong view mode. All right, now y'all can see my screen a little better and I can see my notes a little bit better. Okay, so when we look at this, I want you to just think about in your mind, what is it, that makes you want to impact student achievement? Because that's all the focus of leadership is on. Everything we do is all about directly impacting student achievement. And that's what we're going to get into. If it lets me move, there we go. So, the focused leadership model is basically just a research-based framework. Carbo and Marzano, I made a double name there. They put a lot of time into the 6 domains, and this is actually the second edition because they revamped it. And it all is just focused on how can principals directly influence education and educating kids. It has a strong connection to student achievement and it does support continuous school improvement. And I always like to stop on continuous school improvement. It doesn't matter if you're an A school or you're an F school. Continuous school improvement affects every school. Because if you're like, oh, we got an A, we're rocking and rolling, guess what happens? The ball slides back down, and then you're back up trying to build it back up. So you have to be familiar, but also aware enough to say, okay, I can do this. Okay, guys, again, me and my effort to go fast. I'm not going fast. I did not show y'all something that I need y'all to see. Please take out a device, a phone. I need you guys to take a picture of my Mentimeter thingy here. Just get the QR code because my presentation does have questions embedded and you'll need the Menti to get there. And if you want to do it on your computer, use the Menti code up here. It will do the same thing. Again, I'm going too fast to trying to get y'all done in the time I have allotted. All right, does everyone have it? No? Okay. I got 25 people in. Keep going. This is the part where I like for it to be a little bit interactive.
Okay, I scanned from another phone and it just popped up school leadership for results. Am I where I need to be?
Yeah, that's where you're supposed to be.
Okay.
There's no place to put the code in.
If you use the QR code, it should pop you right into it. If you go online and do it through menti.com, you have to put the code in.
Okay.
I just like to give it in two different ways just in case people don't have their phone, or if they're using their phone for the Zoom, then they can use like the internet for the other part.
So just to be clear, when we're looking at our phone screen, it's supposed to look like that.
Yes, that's perfect. Okay, I have 27 people in. Okay, so the first thing I want you guys to rate, did your screen change? It should have.
Yes, yes.
Okay. How familiar are you with the Marzano leadership model? Just rate it quickly. It's no judgment. I have 20 people that have responded out of 27. Twenty-five have responded, waiting on 3. So what I'm looking at is that we have some people that are familiar and others that are not at all. So this will be a good read for a lot of you. Keep your mentees out. Don't turn them off because we'll go through that as we go through the PowerPoint. So just know by the time you're done with this course and everything that you're learning within this course, you will be very, very familiar with Marzano and Carbo's work. And it's a great way to start. If you're in the master's program, it is really a great way to start. Um, so as we think about the first domain, and this one is what you are probably hearing the most about at your schools, is the data-driven focus on student achievement. If you're not looking at data, how do you know kids are improving? That's always my question. And when I have a teacher tells that will tell me, well, look, we got 100% proficiency. I know, but that's today. We got to keep going so we can maintain 100% proficiency. Or the flip of that is, oh my gosh, I got all the tier kids. They're not moving. If they go from a 352 to a 365, yeah, they're moving. Then the gains are the gains, and we have to take them in stride. So, but we need to also have multiple data sources. If a kid is failing your class as an F, but we're taking benchmark assessments and they're a 5, we're taking benchmark assessments and they're showing that they're very proficient, then there's a disconnect. We need to go back and try to dig deep to figure out what's the disconnect. We have to set measurable achievement goals under domain 1. And we got to monitor progress regularly so that we can adjust our instruction based on our results. These are things, guys, that as lead teachers in your rooms, these are things that you're constantly doing, and hopefully you keep an pulse on it at all times. So what I need y'all to do now is your mentee should have changed. Your mentee poll should have changed. Which data source do you use the most? Are you doing mostly literacy and numeracy screeners? Are you doing mostly benchmark and intervention data? Are you doing course performance and graduation indicators? Where do you fall? And in all of this. And if you are not a content area person, think about it as a school. What do you feel like your school is using the most? So you have two ways of thinking about that. If I'm not a content area where I am a tested subject area, then what do I think my school is using? If I am in a content area, what do I use the most as a data source? Literacy or and numeracy screeners, benchmark and intervention data, course performance, and graduation indicators. So right now I see a lot of benchmark and intervention data. So majority of you in this course, y'all are in classrooms that are tested areas. Two high school peeps in here with the course performance and graduation, two K2 people, literacy and numeracy screeners. And that's pretty much where it should fall, because if you're not using something, then we got to figure out what we can implement so that we can gauge learning. All righty, moving on. So, domain 2, we get into the continuous improvement of instruction. Y'all, this is the one that is always the one that gets me a little tickled. And you'll see it a lot when you start talking to people about it. The continuous improvement of instruction. What is that? What does that look like? It looks like effective teaching practices. I was speaking with a high school principal once, and I was like, I don't think I could ever be in a high school. I don't speak Spanish. I don't know what AP looks like. Man, there's nothing I can tell a kid in an AP history course. No. And this takes me back to continuous improvement of instruction. Do you know what sound practices look like? What effective teaching practices look like? Can you provide actionable feedback on sound practices? Do you know what alignment of instruction to standards look like? And do you promote a professional learning environment? If you can do those things, you can sit in a class that you've never taken or you have no background knowledge in and still be able to tell if that teacher is teaching the content to the level of rigor and is it based off standards. That's the big deal when it comes to having a continuous improvement of instruction. All right, look back at your mentee. I want you to just type in What instructional strategy has had the biggest impact this year for you? What instructional strategy has had the biggest impact for you this year? And I know we're still young in the year. Alrighty, if you see my screen, I had them grouped in the areas that you guys were listing so you can see them. They're not in the individual responses anymore. But if you see small groups, a lot of you are saying small groups, student engagement, student feedback, data-driven instruction, scaffolding, curriculum planning, all of these things, and these are uncategorized. Let's see what we got. Student feedback responses, data-driven instruction, peer tutoring, one-on-one instruction, being able to relate content to reality, making those good connections and student engagement. It is hands-on activities and all the connections. So you guys know what it is to provide positive instruction and what those instructional strategies, the biggest impacts from your instructional strategies have been this year. So investing in good curriculum, all these things, differentiated learning, everything we've heard about all while we've been teaching, all while we've been in education, we know that there are strategies that really help kids. Y'all are so smart. I'm gonna be a little bit smarter this year because of this cohort. Thank you. So with that, moving on, in domain 3, we're going to look at a guaranteed and viable curriculum. Ooh, I have those out of place. It just hit me. I'm sorry, I got a typo there. Domain 2 is a guaranteed viable curriculum. Domain 3 is continuous development of teachers and staff. I did these, must not have my book looking at it. I'm sorry. Um, Clearly identifies essential standards. Here's the thing, people think about a curriculum, and a lot of times they think about a book. Curriculum is not the book. And I hate saying that out loud because the book helps you with the curriculum, but you never buy a program that has everything in it from page 1 to page 900. You never buy that curriculum. And if you don't look at that bought program as a resource and not a curriculum, you get stuck teaching a book and not the curriculum. And what that simply means is the state of Mississippi gives us the Mississippi College and Career Readiness Standards. We take those standards and we purchase a curriculum to assist us in teaching those standards. So if we don't have if our curriculum doesn't clearly identify what our essential standards are, then we can't allocate sufficient amount of instructional time that will ensure consistency across classrooms that then eliminates gaps and redundancies. All of these things go hand in hand to help us get kids where they need to be. So, looking at your Menti, on a scale of 1 to 5, how guaranteed is your curriculum? Where you are now, thinking holistically. If you were the person walking your building, holistically, how guaranteed would you say your curriculum is? On a scale of 1 to 5.
About a 3 or 4.
You're doing it do it in the Menti. If you look at your
Not
Menti,
on my screen. I don't know. I'm using 2 separate phones, so I don't.
Okay, so as we are going through this, if you are looking at my screen, I'm sharing your results on the Menti, and it's showing some of us, I mean, the majority of the class, we have 2.3, and our guaranteed curriculum is not where we would like for it to be. And then we're kind of wavering with the fives and fours. Here's the thing about the curriculum. If it is not where you think it should be, and you are now headed in your leadership role, going back and having those conversations, looking through your practicum hours, is there a place where I can meet with my principal, get me a few hours, and talk about our curriculum? That's where you are going to be placed as you go through this journey with your practicum hours, is figuring out how you're assisting and where are some areas you can have a deep dive conversation about some of these things. Would anyone like to come off mute and share, who put in a one, and talk about why you feel like it should be a little bit more?
I'll start. So, this school year, the district that I'm teaching in, I started in second grade and they moved me to fourth grade because we had a staff change. And right in the middle of the year, they changed our curriculum to what is now called magnetic literacy, and it's supposed to be an all-in-one. But the problem that I'm facing is that it doesn't help them with their benchmark assessments, nor does it help them with their end of the year test. I don't see how it's supposed to grow them when there are no questions that are aligned to the standards that we are teaching, nor does it align to the test that they're taking.
That's a valid point. Very, very valid. Someone who rated a 5, would you like to share?
I rated a 5 on one of them with our curriculum. We use MyView Literacy in elementary, and it's proven over the last 3 years that we've adopted this curriculum. Our growth is proven, and it's the phonics and the phonemic awareness, the vocabulary, everything is aligning with our data and our growth charts, and even our children, like you said, that are on tier 2, tier 3 students. Our assistants are getting in there, and they're mocking what we're doing, our expectations, and it's proven to pull these kids up from kids that are coming in our room that can't even write their name, and now they're identifying letters, sounds, nouns, verbs. They can do blending, segmenting, and so I did rate a 5 on our reading curriculum.
Awesome, awesome. High school. Do I not have any high school peeps on?
Um, I am not high school. However, I feel that when it comes down to curriculums, a lot of schools do not give adequate training to curriculums. And that's one reason why we cannot, if we don't know how to use it, we can't teach the kids to any extent for us to, I guess, have success from it. That's a big issue in most schools because they put us in a 1 day training, maybe 2 days at the most. But some curriculums, if it's a brand new curriculum, because when I taught at Eva Gordon Elementary, they started out with my view. That was the first time they had ever introduced it. We could not understand it, but we had a 1 day training, and they gave us the online platform to go in and play with it. I'm like, at some point we need a better training, at least a week, maybe a week and a half, and somebody to come directly and work with each individual grade. But I can't say that's one reason that a lot of schools do not have success with certain curriculums.
I would 100% agree with you there. And I know in the time I was in the classroom, we went through probably 4 different curriculums. And I think at one point I was like, they're going to buy something different next year. Like, I'm so sick of introducing something else, revamping my lesson plans, revamping my assessments. So that is,
I um,
oh,
I
go.
had attended I attended a curriculum associates PD session for math one year, and this was from iReady, and they said that Mississippi, but Meridian itself is one of the districts that changes their curriculum almost every single year, and that was so interesting to hear.
Wow. It takes at least 3 to 5 years to see the results of any new curriculum. And that's just the reality. But at least you guys know what it means to have sound curriculum and to think through some of that. So when we get into domain 4, it is community of care and collaboration. I put cooperation and collaboration. You will see it differently in the book because to me, those are the big two entities. When I think about a community of care and I think about collaboration, I think there's got to be mutual cooperation and collaboration. And to have that, you got to build a collaborative culture. You have to build that. And going back to what was stated about curriculum, I am different, and I know I am in the way I think because my teachers are all in this first month of January and they get a full day of planning. We get a sub to go in the room. All of my ELA teachers in each grade meet for a day, plan for a day. Because if you're gonna be successful at anything, you gotta have time to plan. And everybody has to be in the room if we're gonna have horizontal alignment. We can't have horizontal alignment if we're meeting at recess, if we're meeting at lunch. The only way for us to have it if we're sitting down and we're looking at activities, we're looking at the pacing, we're looking at all of the good stuff that we need to do. And so that's how we make sure we're building a collaborative culture. We meet every Thursday for PLCs, and it is a learning environment. PLCs in my building is a professional learning thing. It's always professional in its nature. Whether we're looking at data, whether we're doing a book study, whether we're looking at how to improve relationships with kids, whether it's about how do we monitor behavior, everything in our PLCs is centered around how do we grow ourselves professionally. And I don't lead all of them. Sometimes the teachers lead them. Sometimes my specialists, math or literacy specialists, lead them. Sometimes I have people from different entities come in our district. Region 8 is a big person in our district because they partner with us that I have come in to talk about behavior. So PLCs have to be one of those things that are the most intentional in the building. Because if you want your people to grow, I go back to if I implemented Amplify as our new reading curriculum. We met one time this summer to get our heads wrapped around it. Then we've met over and over as we've gone through the year to talk through, can we keep this unit? Do we knock some stuff out this unit? Will this offend our parents? Can we pull this back? They don't want their kids to learn about this. And that's how we encourage the shared responsibility. And that's how you promote trust and communication because if you're not having the communication, you can't collaborate. If people don't trust each other and feel comfortable to share, you can't grow. Okay, now I'm going to change your Menti again. How often do PLCs meet with a data focus? Focused on your data. Go ahead and type that in. Okay, wait. Trying to let y'all see my Menti. I gotta come out and go into the other one. Got stuck. So once a month is the leading answer right now. Once a month is our leading answer. Some people have weekly 1 hour. That's exactly what we do. Ours is every Thursday. 2 to 3 times a week. So quarterly's coming up a lot. So the bigger things in the cloud are the things that are multiple people have put in. So we're looking at quarterly, monthly, weekly, and then once a month being the big times that people are meeting for PLCs with a data focus. And with that being said, we're data focused all the time. Data leads in, all decisions are led by your data. All right, good job with that Menti. When I think about PLCs, when I originally thought about PLCs, I thought about the PLCs that's on the calendar that we meet. But I want y'all to think about your PLCs are when your grade level teams are meeting. You don't have to have a principal in the room to have a professional learning community. If all three math teachers meet, that's a PLC. If we're sitting down and we're talking about what we're teaching, how our kids are performing on assessments, those are PLCs. Middle school content area teams and our department teams, secondary, those are PLCs. They don't have to be led by someone else. They could be led by your department chair. So don't ever think you're not engaging in a PLC, because you really are. Now, before I go into this one, I really wanted you guys to rate this first. Oh, wrong button. I wanted you guys to go ahead and rate. Okay. One word to describe your school culture. Climate. I'm sorry, climate. Tense. Welcoming is jumping out at us. I like that word. Chaotic but surviving. I don't like that word. Inclusive. That's a good one.
I was just knocked out of mentee.
Um, are you using the QR code did you use the QR code to get in?
I did.
Okay, what I'll ask you to do is go back in if you're on your phone and like a Safari or whatever your internet, whatever your search bar is, and go to
Okay.
menti.com and put the code in. So when we think about the climate of the building, because I always think people get confused with culture and climate. Your culture is the traditional things. Your culture is the way it has, people say, oh, over there at that school, they always do da 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 da. Over there at that school, football Fridays are a big deal. That's your culture. Your climate is how people feel when they walk in your building. Does it feel warm and inviting? When you're walking down the hall in your building, do you feel like you're a part of a team? Do you feel like, oh, I should be here? Or do you feel chaotic? Like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till these 6, 7, 8 hours are up so I can get in my car and go home. Do I feel like I'm just working my tail off and nobody else is jumping in to help me? So that is your climate. And guys, people will say the leader of the building sets the tone of the building. I would even go a step further and say the teachers of a building affects the climate of a building. If you're on a team with negative people, you can't help but feel that negativity. If you're on a team with happy-go-lucky people, we're here for the kids, yay, 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 you feel that environment. When teachers come in to vent, I tell them, come on, I want you to vent. I want you to chew on it. But before you walk out my office, spit the fat out and let's keep going. Because at some point we gotta get it out of our system, and we have to have a safe place to do that. You may have to walk in a teammate's room, close the door, and be like, if this kid taps that pencil one more time, but then you can walk into the room and be like, all right, all pencils in the desk. and move like that. And that's a hard skill when every day feels chaotic. I get that. But when we start talking about domain 5 and we're looking at our school climate and our core values, because climate, it goes back, I don't know what I put here. I was thinking out loud, I guess. This should be core values. Domain 6 is your core value. But you have to, as an lead of your building, you have to determine how do you want your school to feel. If you run around and everything is on fire, your school feels like everything is on fire. So at some point as a leader, You have to break down in your mind, okay, this is how I want my school to feel. This is where I want everything to go. How I want everything to go. I want it to feel like everybody is happy here. And I am the reason everyone is happy here. And if that is your take on the way you want your school to feel, then that is how you have to make everyone else feel. Because if you don't, then the building will feel chaotic. I am a happy go lucky person. I am also a no nonsense person. If I tell you this is it, this is it. That's how my personality is structured. I am of the mind, I tell people how I feel because I don't want you to walk away and be like, is she mad at me? Did I do something wrong? Did I say something? Because I want you to know when we walk away from the conversation, I'm not upset about it. We just got to correct this. Or we had a great day. I want to celebrate you. I don't want it to be any underlining thoughts about things. So for me, I like to move in a very ethical behavior way. Like I like to communicate a clear vision, tell people exactly this is the vision of our school. We are going to work towards this vision. And I'm always discussing student success. Again, I know people get frustrated and I want them to be able to come and talk to me. But at the same time, with that, I also know that I can't go down into the dumps with people. Because again, as the leader of the building, you have to make sure you're setting the tone for a happy place. Every day's not happy. I'm fully aware, but that's the climate you want to build. And your core values, and I've told every cohort since I've started this, your core values, you need a little notebook. You just need a little notebook that you take down a little bit of notes about things that happen as you're doing your practicums and you're going through this. As an administrator, I'm going to make sure I do this. As a leader, I'm going to not do this. Those are the things that build your core values. For me, if you ask any teacher in my building, what's Dr. Cockrell's core values? They'll tell you in 2 words. She makes sure that kids feel safe and loved. That's it. That's my ultimate goal. I want them to feel safe and I want them to feel like they have a place because that's what the love piece is for me. You have a place here. Because if those two things happen, my teachers can teach kids and kids will learn. So understanding what it is you value is so important. So go to your mentee. I changed the question. I want you to look at what is it from a leadership standpoint, right? What leadership actions have the highest impact? And this is our last question. What leadership actions have the highest impact in your building from what you think at this moment in your life? I see communication and listening popping up, trust, intentional involvement with the students. Okay. Looking for ways to build relationships, support, all of those. I'm going to group the responses so we can see what's the bigger of all the things. So most of you are landing on communication, involvement, listening, building that trust, that support, being transparent. Oh, all the good things that I like to hear. I think when you think about leadership, to have strong core values, all of these things have to be involved in it, all of them. And people have to be able to see these things outwardly. It's to be able to see it, to do it, and be a part of it is always going to be your best bet. I know that was a lot. I tried to make it interactive as much as possible. That's the thing about Zoom. It is a lot. All right. So, with this last part, I want you guys to think about which domain is your strongest. What is it that is the strongest thing that you feel like is your stronger domain of all six? Which domain needs the most growth? And I will tell y'all, I am in year 3 of being the lead principal. In year 1, um, I had no idea about domain 6 when I had to talk about the budgets and all the financial responsibilities that I had to go through. And looking at that financial piece made my brain explode. I was like, all these codes, I don't know what to do with them. And then what is one action you can take this month to lead you to helping that one that is not your strongest? And as we go through this course, I want you to think about how do the domains work together? These are some reflection, and we're not going to discuss them because, again, I am always going to be a good steward of your time and get you off on time, get you off the call on time. But thinking through all of these to kind of get your mind around what it is you want to see in yourself when you become a leader. Okay? I'm going to stop sharing, pop this out. Alrighty, any questions about that? I will send you this PowerPoint in an inbox. I'm gonna make a few corrections to it because I did make this in the car driving, and I do see some errors that I need to fix, and I will because that's just the way life is. Um, Now we're gonna jump into the second part of this, and that is your data project. Y'all, last semester was the first time Dr. Sellers, we revamped the data project. And I'm not going to say it wasn't the best activity, but I will say I've learned a lot from the first cohort in doing it. Um, those of you who have been in 3 through 8 and subject areas in high school, you all know we didn't use Questar last year. We all used the DRC. Well, the DRC did not give the lovely data that Questar gave. So when you ask students to come up with data that has standards attached, well, DRC said, nope, we're not doing that. And so that's why we had such a disconnect in how we were going to do this project. But the good thing is, y'all are the January group. And in the January group, you should have some beginning of the year data and some middle of the year data if you're a subject area school or a subject area place. If you don't have this data, you have to go find your school test coordinator. Most schools have one. You have to go find that person to get some data. If your school does not have any data, iReady, LMS, MVP, Mastery Connect, if your school has absolutely nothing, you're going to have to borrow some data from somewhere that has standards. It can't say everybody's a level 1. I don't know what that means. I need to know what they're level 1 on. Like RI 3.5, like an NOA standard or something. One of those E's that's on the science test. I'm gonna need some standards, y'all. I'm saying this because it was some very disappointed people in the last semester because they had done some things and then they had to redo some things. And I am one of those people. I like to do it one time. My husband has a phrase, put your hands on something one time. I believe that. I want to touch it one time. I want to submit it one time. And I want to be done. Move to the next thing. So I don't want people to have to redo things to improve their grade because you didn't understand the assignment. Okay. Okay, wait, we got some people with some questions in the chat. I forget to do this part, y'all. Okay, if you have to borrow some data, that's fine because at the end of the day, you should have a person who's collecting the data, whether you're on a campus that is alternative, whether you're at a K2 building, things like that, you should have someone like at a district office that can pull your data for you. You don't need names. I don't want kids' names. It's this thing called the FERPA law. You're not supposed to be giving me names anyway. I just need data. If you have to take your spreadsheet and take a black marker, a black Sharpie, and go, I'm fine with that. Dibbles does not count because Dibbles does not give you standards. If it does not list the Mississippi College and Career Standards and tell you how kids are doing on individual standards, you cannot use it.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Brooke.
What about alternate standards?
MAP A standards do count because they have to master those standards. Yes, that
Okay,
does count,
thank you.
but not a gold page. Okay. Oh, the questions are pouring in now. Let me. Okay. EPA standards don't count. That is speaking, listening, writing, and reading. Those are not Mississippi College and Career Standards. I love the EPA test, and I hope all these kids I have taken it this year come out of it. Speaking is killing us. But those are not the standards we track for grade mastery. I have to have state testing. And if you're in another state, they give the test there too. The Louisiana test has standards attached. Okay. All righty.
I have a question.
Go
If
ahead.
we do not teach a state tested subject, do we choose a subject?
Mhm.
So, okay, it doesn't have to be all the subjects, just one.
Just
Okay,
one.
all
Just one.
right.
I'm going
Thank
to
you.
share some things with you guys for just a sample of data. And here's the thing, yours may not look like this. My school uses Mastery Connect, and we give the MVP, Mastery Review Predictive Assessment. Some schools give iReady, some schools give LMS. All of those do count, right? As long as I can see a standard. So let's see here. So this is just and it's cut. It is not to, to protect the innocent. I tried to put as little amount of information on here as I could. But as you can tell, it's the text difficulty, genre, DOK, class percent, all of that. But these are the standards listed across. The green represent the highest areas, the yellow represents the lowest areas. I can see the standard. I can see the percentage of this standard of kids. And all this other information is very good information. But this is the main thing that is the most important. Don't send me a document that says this is my lowest standard, this is what they scored. I need to be able to look and see in the comparison, yes, this was the lowest standard out of all the standards that were assessed on this benchmark data. It cannot be my class summative assessment. It has to be benchmark data, which means over a period of time, over the first 9 weeks, over the second 9 weeks, the third, it has to be benchmark data. And that's the data you give the test that you give 3 times a year. Most schools are doing that. There are probably a handful that are not, and I don't know why or what rock they're under, but most schools in Mississippi gives benchmarks assessment 3 times a year. Okay, coming off of the data page, so we can look at this assignment.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I have 4 classes, so can I just choose one class, or would you like me to do the whole grade?
I prefer the grade because then you can take a bird's eye view of the data because that's
Okay.
what you will do as a leader, right? You will take
Okay.
a bird's eye view of it. All
Okay.
righty, let me get down into here. Here we go. Um, I'm trying to make sure I get y'all the right thing. Here we go. All right, this is what I'm looking for. Now, when you turn in your very first data project, it's easy. It is the easiest of all the ones you're going to turn. You do two parts of it. The first part is the easiest because all you're going to do for the first assignment is find the data you're going to use, identify what is the grade level you are in, what is the subject area, and you're going to identify the two areas of weakness and strengths you were able to identify. And then you're going to identify an area of focus that you will use, right, to complete part two. I don't want to get too far ahead. We're not going to talk about part two right now. I just want us to focus on part one. And if you notice here, it's not 9 weeks classroom test. It is benchmark data. Benchmark data is something that the kids haven't seen. It is something that has been put together and you take it, right? So I think I've beat that dead horse. I'm gonna get off of that because I will keep talking about it. All right. I hate when things reshift themselves. Oh, bear with me. And if my computer wouldn't have crashed this morning, I had all these things pulled up and ready to go, but it decided to have a meltdown. Here we go. I'm back at it. Here we go. Here. That's part two, though. It's not part one. I need part one. All right. So this document has a lot of things on it. And a lot of these things that are on here, I'm going to ask that you delete them before you upload this to the portal. Only because it is going to give you. I forgot I can't do it that way. I have to do it this way. Zoom is not being my friend either today. Okay. I know y'all are bored, but this is important when you get ready to turn this in. Okay. Here is template one. And guys, this is a building project. So if you do part one, when you turn in part two, part one should be with part two. It's a growing thing, right? So these are a lot of helpful notes and things for you to have as a guide. But when you turn the document in, I don't want all of this. I just want this table and this statement. This is all I will want from you. But this is a guide. So a lot of this is information to help you. So as an educational leader, your ability to interpret data and translate it into meaningful, measurable goals is critical. In part one of this assignment, you will review a set of student achievement data and analyze the strengths and weaknesses. So with that being said, you have to first get your data. Part two, analyze it. You're going to put what test you're using. So if I use MVP, I'm going to put that there. I picked fourth grade and I'm going to do ELA. Then here, I'm going to identify two standards. Y'all, people lost points because they did not put areas that were the greatest concern. They picked things that they were working on in class. I'm saying that to say, please look at the data and do what this says. List the two greatest areas of concern or weakness that needs to be addressed for student and school improvement. If your 4-point or I. 4.1 is 23%, and everything else is above 23%. That's the one you list. Even if in your plan with your colleagues, you're going to start with RI 4.3. Even if that's the one you're starting with, you're listing the one that is of greatest concern. And I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but only because I don't want people to lose valuable points on an assignment that is simply stated. Okay. And then you're going to put the two areas of strength. So those two places in your data where you're like, yes, my kids rocked it out. Those are the two areas you're going to put in there. Now, the area of focus is another area that you have to put in this particular part one assignment. According to your data, you identified and analyzed above. What is the greatest area of weakness you found? So I may have two here that I have listed, but one of these is my big priority because it is the lowest. I should have put all my focus and attention on this one particular standard. Well, that's the one you're going to list as the area of focus. So many grammatical errors is making me get hives. This is the area you'll write a plan of implementation for improvement. And that's going to be your part two. So list the standard number. And guys, look at this part. Oh, stop it. Type the specific standard. That means I'm going to look at the standard and I am going to type in the words of what that standard asks. Cite text evidence, whatever's in the Mississippi College and Career Readiness Standard. You can cut and paste it from the MDE document. Don't care. But please list it out. Okay, I know y'all think, oh, she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. No, I'm not. You will be surprised how many people are not going to do this, and I'm going to take points for it. So once you start into part two of your SMART Goals assignment, these things will be pertinent to you, but they're not right now. I'm only focusing on this first part. So pay attention for this first part. When you turn this in, this document, unless you type really big and your font is 999, this should be all I get in an email. I'm sorry. Let me fix that. You're going to put a cover page on it, and then I'm going to see template one, and I'm going to see your data. Okay? Cover page, this template, you see how I cleaned it up? All the things is perfect. Cover page, this template, and your data. If your data is not attached, guys, you lose points. I know I'm a broken record, and it's okay because I don't like for people to lose points. I really, really, really don't like for people to lose points. Okay, now
I got a question.
go
So
ahead.
the data is the chart that you showed at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the data, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we can make ours just like yours, follow that same.
Well, I didn't make that. That's the Excel spreadsheet that I get
Okay.
from MVP.
Can we follow that? Like,
Well, you should get that in a format. What data does your school use?
well, I was like, so this would be something for the school. So it's not something that we like create because that's what I was trying to ask you about Summit K-12 because I'm more familiar with that. I don't really use more of the other benchmarks, but I'm thinking about doing the benchmark ELA.
So when you talk with them about your benchmark ELA, you would say, I'm gonna just pick a grade. I need the fourth grade ELA benchmark data. And it'll come already
Yeah.
packaged in an Excel or a PDF or something of that nature.
Okay, so that's how, okay, I got it.
All right, I'm going to jump back to this, looking at my minutes. I don't want to go over. When you turn this in, okay, now we're looking at the rubric. And I always go to the rubric because I want you guys to understand exactly what the expectation is for this assignment. Just putting in that box the name of the assignment, the grade level, subject area, that's 10 points. The full name of the assessment is provided. The assessment is a summative and is valid and reliable. That's 10 points. I listed the two greatest areas of concern or weaknesses that needed to be addressed for student and school improvement. Now, the two areas of weaknesses are provided and are accurate according to the data. According to the data, along with the full standards are provided. So, full standards mean I went in my college and career readiness, I cut out what that said and pasted it in my document so that it does not just list the number, it has the full title or the full descriptor of that standard is provided. Okay? List the two greatest areas of strength. Two specific areas of strengths are identified with standard and or objective numbers for the data provided. Y'all, it's literally cut and pasted into the document. Part one is the easiest part you'll do. Area focus, standard number, and the full standard is provided. Cut and paste it, man. It's the simplest thing ever. I know I sound like a broken record. I cannot tell you how many people did not get 75 points last semester. I'm gonna tell you the median for this score, it was about a 60. So correct template used, spelling is correct, and a copy of, okay, this is the other part. A copy of the data is provided. You have to include the data. I trust you to give me honest answers, but I also like to check. I like to fact check that you pull the right standard. Okay? Any questions about the rubric? The three things that you're going to turn in is going to be, well, is one thing. Somebody has the mic on, is making an echo. You have to have a cover sheet. You have to do the template, and you have to have your data for part one of the class, the data project one. That's all is expected. Questions?
I have a question.
Mhm.
For our turning in results, will it show if we copy and paste the standard?
Not on this particular assignment, no.
So I teach seventh grade ELA and I have 3 blocks. Do you want me to combine the 3 blocks or just take one class?
I prefer you to do it as a whole group, but here's the thing about that. I know with our MVP data, our we are fortunate that we have an assessment and accountability team that sends our data with all 3 classes combined. They send them to me and then I disperse it to my team leads. Some places don't do that. So if it is going to be you having to sit there and manually do all of that, I wouldn't put that on you. Okay. And that's for any of you guys that teach multiple blocks of the same content. Because my fourth and fifth grade are in trio, so they have 3 blocks as well. So I wouldn't put that on you to have to sit there and do all of that. If you have someone at your district office that combines all of that and your STC or your principal can get that to you, then yes, that's a holistic view of your classes. That's what you really need to analyze. But if you don't have that and can't get it, I understand.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing, guys, this first part one, the bigger thing I'm looking at for you is that you're using the correct data. Because if you don't use the correct data, part two is gonna not go well. Okay, if you have a question and you don't want to ask me in the public forum, please email me. Yesterday was my birthday. When I get off this call today, I'm going to go hang out with my life partner because he is waiting patiently on me. Look, 32 years, he knows I'm slow. He knows this. So I will not check your emails today. Okay. but I will check them first thing tomorrow. And I will answer you and get back to you and get all the things you need. Here's the other thing I want to say to y'all, grace upon grace. Okay? We do the hardest job in the world. Teaching is not for the weak or the faint of heart. And we do all of the other life things that we have to do on top of our daily jobs that we carry everywhere with us. So if I send you an email and say, hey, I need you to get this to me, I'm not telling you stop everything you're doing and get this to me right now. I'm saying to you, hey, you got some AI in this. I need you to resubmit it. Don't get in your feelings. You can ask me questions, I'm going to answer them. But at the same time, I'm not saying stop everything you're doing. I need you to submit this to me right now. Okay. I'm saying to you, you have a zero as a placeholder. You all are educators, you're adults. When we get to the end and that zero is still a placeholder, you got a zero. I didn't give you a zero. You got a zero, okay? You know how y'all tell the kids that? I know how y'all tell the children. I didn't give you that grade. You earned that. I've said it a million times, so I know. But at the same time, when we get towards the end, I'm going to send you an email and I'm going to say all grades are due to me by this date. If I in your comment section of your turned in assignment. When I grade things, I'm like a kindergarten teacher, that puts that excellent stamp or that happy go lucky good job stamp on everything. I will put in there good job and I'm going to move on to the next person to grade. If I leave you a long comment, it's just feedback. Okay? It's so that when you do the next assignment, you don't have to make those same errors, right? I also highlight in your paper and comment in the margins. So if you're checking your grade on your phone in Canvas, you won't see what you see if you go in your computer on Canvas. Read the comments and then make those corrections. What I will tell you, the top comments always go back to citing text evidence. They wrote this book, y'all. If you paraphrase, you still have to give them credit at the end of that paragraph because it's not your information, right? And those of you that are going towards this dissertation process later, learn it now because it will eat your lunch later, right? People say you can't do a dissertation fast. I did it in 2 years. I did the whole doctoral program in 2 years. You can do it, but you got to learn APA format. You got to breathe it, right? So citing text evidence is the only other thing that I know gets a lot of points taken away. So please pay attention to that part. The other thing I would tell you, don't forget your reference page. You lose 10 whole points if you don't put a reference page on there. If I read your assignment and I say to myself, oh my gosh, whew, Nicole missed the beat on this. She didn't even read the directions or the rubric. My comment is going to say, you are off track, something of that nature. Please resubmit. If I don't list in the comments, please resubmit. Please don't resubmit because I'm not going to regrade it. I'm just being honest with you guys on the front end. I have three sections of this class. That's a lot of people to grade. And let me say this again, I work full time just like y'all. I generally don't leave Mansdale Upper until about 6 o'clock. Because those comments y'all posted in the Mentee, I am in classrooms, I am with kids, I like to feel connected. So I don't do emails and all that stuff until the end of the day. So I typically stay at work a little bit longer. I can't grade your paper 3 times so that you get your best grade. I'm not going to do that. You wouldn't do it for your students, right? So before you submit, compare your paper to the rubric and make sure you have all the pieces and then hit submit. Make sure you are looking at those instructor videos. I go through the Canvas shell for every week in those instructor videos. I go through the rubric. I go through what the expectations are. in those instructor videos. They're very important to me because you don't get to meet with me once a week. I've worked for Mississippi State and I had to work every week with those graduate students. And I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I just know with people who have real jobs and real lives, it's harder to get on every week, especially if you're coaching something or if you have a kid who's in something, it's harder to do a weekly meeting. So the instructor videos, William Carey developed that so that the students that are in graduate school has an update every week as to what is expected. If you got this, don't watch the videos. If you are confused about something, look through the video. But at the end of the day, if you have a direct question, email me and I'll get back with you. If I don't answer it quickly enough, follow up, y'all. It does not hurt my feelings. You typically have to tap me on my shoulder and say, hey, this is intended to hurt your feelings because that's just who I am. I think the best of every person that I talk to, because I don't want to be in my feelings about how people feel. Takes too much space. Any questions before we get to the ending of the end of this Teams meeting? Zoom. I'm on Zoom.
I do have a question. I do not have the book yet, but we can use your PowerPoint for the first assignment. Would that suffice?
If you go in the Canvas module, the book for the introduction is in a PDF.
Mhm.
So that way you can get that part done. We Dr. Sellers, who thinks about everything, thought that people wouldn't have a book when the class started, so she uploaded the PDFs. And if the book is on back order or anything like that, just reach out to me in email and I will scan it and send it to you. Now, I'm not gonna do that for all the chapters because that's a lot. And I may go to jail because they said that's copyright. Any other questions, guys? Let me look through my notes, make sure I hit all the hot points.
I teach high school in Alabama and they don't do state tests. So can I use something like an AP exam or the ACT?
Yes, use the AP exam over the ACT.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't know y'all didn't give any state tests. That's crazy.
Just the junior high.
Need to go to Alabama. No, I'm joking. I'm a diehard Mississippian. I probably will never leave. I'm that person. All right, I'm just looking back through my notes, guys. We did the SMART goals. We talked about all of that. When we get, and I hope we have another Zoom. I don't know. That should have been a thing I looked at and I did not. We do have an evaluation. You guys will do a teacher evaluation February 22nd, and that'll be our big part of our class discussion when we meet on February 14th, which is Valentine's Day. So hopefully your people know that you'll be on a class that morning, the day of love. I do a Galentine's party for a teenage girl. I I got nothing, y'all. That's my world. But we do have a Zoom call on that day. Before I let you off, I'm so glad y'all that my brain went there. When we have a class, a virtual class, and you guys don't show up for that, it counts as an absence. Okay, attendance affects your overall grade. So late assignments, not showing up for virtual, those things affect your overall grade. I don't know the percentage. I've tried to figure out the formula just because y'all are adults. Students have asked in this class. I don't know the formula, but when you don't show up for a Zoom meeting, I count you as absent. The absence hurts. I'm gonna tell you that it does. So if you can get on, you need to get on. The only excused absence is if you are doing like your military duties. That's when you're excused from being.
Okay, I was just going to ask that question. I'm flag coach with the band, and I know on that day we have a parade in Biloxi, Mississippi, and
It is
we'll be
not excused.
traveling. It's
It's
not
not.
kids.
No, ma'am.
If I get on the Zoom on the bus, is that an issue?
Turn your camera on, put your headphones in, hit mute. I'm gonna tell y'all, I tried, and I'm the instructor, y'all, and I tried to get out or change a class meeting date because my child had a cheer competition in Dallas because she was cheering at that time on a competitive team. And I was told to, try to figure it out. I literally taught that class in the what they call it, the little business room. The lady at the front desk at our hotel was so sweet to put me in there. She put a sign on the door that do not disturb. And I taught from 8 to 10. I did. And so and no, I'm not complaining because I agree with Dr. Sellers. They put those dates out there because y'all are adults that have lives. And the date was posted and we can't go back and then change the date. So I'm not complaining. I truly understand why it's set that way. Because if we start changing dates because people have issues, everybody has an issue, right? So if you can put your headphones in, your AirPods, mute yourself, put your screen on, and sign in. I'm gonna count it because we all have busy, busy lives. I spent my birthday at the basketball game because the girl child was cheering. Like we have to do what we have to do. I'm very understanding, but some things are policies that I can't accommodate. If you're not doing drill, whatever it's called, drill weekend, I can't excuse it. I've had people that have had, funerals they've had to go to, babies being born. I'm sorry. And that's all I can say. It's one of those that I'm going to take this L, take a loss, take the point loss so that I can do what I need to do. But I'm going to turn my assignments in on time and I'm going to get my points on my assignment so that one absence doesn't take my A away. That's how you have to think, right? Strategically thinking.
I have a question.
I
When we
have
get on Zoom, do we need to type our name in the chat box or how do we need to do it?
Yes, that was stated at the beginning. I'm sorry if you came on late. Anyone before you get off this call, please, please, please put your William Carey name, how it's listed in all your things on William Carey, in the chat box with your section number. That's the only way I take attendance. And you sending me an email saying I was on, you didn't see me. I forgot to put it in the chat box. I don't change it. I don't know what I don't know because I don't know. So y'all have to put that in there every time we meet on Zoom.
I
Um,
have a question.
Go ahead.
Um, how would I do my Zoom call? I have an entry level PT test on February 14th, but they haven't given me the time yet. But it's for law enforcement.
Got nothing. I would tell you to sign in, put your headphones in, mute your computer. I mean, mute your volume. I
So
cannot,
if
let
I
me
do it
say
on
this. I'm going to have to say this again. I cannot give you permission to be absent from this course unless you are serving in the military.
so would it still be okay if I sign in and everything, but y'all are not able to see my face because I'm running? Or would I have to be visibly seen? Would I have to hold the phone in my hand and run?
I want you
I'm
to
just
send me that in an email and I'm gonna run that up the flagpole, okay?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. When they tell me certain things, y'all, I'm about as concrete as a kindergarten child. Gainfully employed, I have one more to go through college. She hadn't even started yet. Gainfully employed, I'm gonna tell you what they tell me, but I will check for understanding and get you an answer. But send it to me in an email so I can forward it on to get you the right answer, okay? Because that may count. It may count. I know having babies don't count, and I know funerals don't count because I've already asked about those. But a PT test for law enforcement, it may count. I don't know. Okay. Any other questions, guys? I will upload this video to the Canvas module, just in case somebody wants to go back through and hear the humor. It will be uploaded. Thank you all for the birthday wishes.
I was gonna say happy birthday. You're phenomenal.
You're kind. Thank you. I will upload week 2 instructor video tomorrow. It should be up by 12. If you don't teach a content area at all, pick a grade, pick a subject area. You only need one subject, one grade. For that person who put that in the chat. That is all I have for you guys. I will leave mine on for a few minutes just in case somebody does have another question. And I got you also, you have 30 minutes before your next one. Please get on at 10:15. It is vital information if you've never done a practicum before. You need that information, so please don't skip that. All right, y'all have a great Saturday weekend and have a great Monday off. Oh, I love Mondays off.
How long is the next session?
The next session is at the same time. It's 8 to 10. It's February 14th.
No, I'm talking about the one after this one.
We only do two.
You told us to log into the
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about the one after this at 10:15. I have no idea how long you'll be on that one. It is gonna be a separate Zoom. It is in the module though. You can find that link. I'm not
Okay.
on that. I'm not on that one.
Okay.
The question about benchmark practice one ELA, it has to be the actual test, not a practice. It needs to be the data from that particular test.
So
Can you
I can
see?
use like the previous, like the last year benchmark test.
Say one more time.
So I can use just like the last benchmark test from last spring.
So not last spring, that's not benchmark. You're thinking end of the year state test. Benchmark data would be the one most people took it in December. Some schools gave it in January coming back, or you could use the one that was given back in September. Benchmark data, not the overarching map. I call it map.
Oh, okay. So just the practice. Okay.
Yes, your map data isn't going to be any use to you because the DRC did not put DRA, DRC, whatever it is, did not give us any benchmark. They didn't give us a breakdown analysis of the data this time. So that's why I'm encouraging everyone to use benchmark data for this project.
Okay, so like December.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a quick question. Our district actually creates the assessments and it comes with standards. Can I use that?
Hold your little colorful chart up. I love it.
So this is like just one grade level.
Yep, that's what I'm looking for. You got it.
And this is, I mean, it kind of already, well, it analyzes it very, I can tell,
Yeah.
like.
That's perfect. That's
Okay.
exactly what we need. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you. Happy
Thank
birthday.
you. Thank you. All right. Any more questions before I leave the group for everyone?
I have a question real quick. We use iReady, so I have their diagnostic data from winter, like you were saying, in the beginning of the year, and then we take one in the on the end of the year. But we also have, similar to what she just showed you, where we take DAs, which is our district assessment, and it's done at the end of each 9 weeks. But it goes through the standards that we covered that 9 weeks. You're wanting more of the diagnostic data though from iReady, because the DA data is things that I've taught on those standards where iReady just places them.
Both are adequate. Both will work because we use NWEA much like you use iReady. So we have NWEA data as well as benchmark data with our MVP. So it's the same thing. So you could use either one as long as it has the standards.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. I think people are waiting on some people to get off so they can feel more comfortable asking a question.
I got one more question.
Okay, okay.
If we use our iReady diagnostics data, does it have to be in like a visible spreadsheet type form, or could we like upload it to where you'll be able to click on it to see the data?
So the iReady data that I've received thus far is a PDF basically, and it's like the standards are listed. down this way, and then it has a bar graph going this way. And then another student sent me one with the standards across the top, and it had percentages on it. So as long as the standards are listed and where they how they perform percentage wise, long as I can see those two things, the iReady data is fine. I can't remember the name of that piece, what it was called. I want to say it was the item analysis report. I think that's what he found because that was one of the students who he spent a lot of time looking through the iReady data. He was very vital to this process because I've never used iReady ever. So I'm not as familiar with their data set, but it was the item, if I'm not mistaken, item analysis that he sent. And it had all the standards with the percentages.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thanks, y'all. Good questions.
Well, thank you. Goodbye.
All right. Y'all have a great day.